we can say definitively that religions are all bullshit.
Welcome to Brainstorm.
We have the explicit tag for a reason.
This is a base level argument to a higher level morality.
I get paid to science?
Two science as much as one can science.
What the hell was my point?
Trigger warning. The Brainstorm podcast will criticize your most cherished beliefs. We attack nonsense in all its forms and discuss difficult subjects. If you peddle pseudoscience, supernatural woo, or religious dogma, then this is not your safe place. This is the home of hardcore skepticism.
Use noise canceling so I don't have to listen to any of you fuckers if I don't want to.
Anyway, all right.
We're back.
We are back.
One of us left for the evening. She just didn't want to be here anymore.
She doesn't like us anymore. Okay, so that was Renegades of Funk by Rage Against the Machine.
Good tune.
We mentioned that we'd play some Ghost, so we played Pinnacle to the Pit, and we got Sequoia Throne by Protest of the Hero. Or Protest the Hero.
What?
Protest the
Protest of the Hero.
You're the hero. Shut the fuck up. Angela's Story and Religious Nuttery. Let's do...
Corey doesn't really listen to metal. He listens to easy listening most of the time.
Kenny G.
Some Kenny G.
I'll
I
fucking
like Kenny
kill
G.
you.
Michael fucking
Michael Bolton.
I'll fucking kill you.
The boot.
Cornerstone, this might be new to some of you. Scripture says that even our righteous deeds are as filthy rags to God. So even the good things that you do, even things like feeding the hungry and clothing the poor and taking in widows and orphans, as nice as those things are, if not done from the place of obedience to and a relationship with God, are completely worthless and disgusting to God. If you're not daily walking in a place of relationship to God, then the news that we have to bring you is that you're on your way to hell right now.
You're on your way to hell right now.
You're lucky that calmed me down.
So a little backstory about Corey back in the day at the old apartment. He brought over this CD once. He was really excited to listen to it. And it went in the CD player. And then it went behind the CD player.
This is the problem with having a 20-year friend on your show, eh?
So easy
Get thrown
listening.
under the bus.
Robin.
There's nothing wrong with Robin.
You know, you gave me shit over playing the Billy CD.
Yeah.
And she became the fucking person
Companion.
off of Doctor Hugh.
Yeah.
Who? So, Hugh.
You
Dr.
just-
Hugh. Dr. Who. Who.
What's with the pigeon noises?
I was going to say. Oh.
Corey's ESL is coming out tonight.
Oh, for background, I've also only had 2 hours sleep in the last 2 days. So.
This is a good podcast. I hope we get so many.
You're also not drinking
thousands.
homeopathic beer tonight, too, so.
Oh, yeah, so I'm
That's
probably
what it is.
super drunk.
Less clam, more beer. Woo.
Wow, that's being
It's
pretty
still
generous. It's still
kokanee.
Fair.
It's one step above homeopathic.
Glacial water and Sasquatch pits.
It's probably
All
got
right.
some rotten dead fish smelling stuff in it somewhere.
All right, let's stop
Moldy
picking on Corey and
snow.
get into Angela's story here.
And he rhymed. Wow.
I'm a rapper.
That was good. Corey's story. Okay, there was an article on the Progressive Secular Humanist blog stating that an atheist mom was forced into court-ordered Christian counseling. KRQE reports that Holly Salzman was hoping to get some help co-parenting her 11-year-old twin boys with her ex-husband, but instead, she says she got 10 court-ordered religious sessions that she did not want. And the counselor wanted to start the session by praying, and she wasn't cool with that. So she basically stopped going to these sessions, and she ended up losing custody of her children.
That's craziness.
And it's in the series of undercover videos. I'm not sure if she did the videos or like how she must have done the videos to prove how ridiculous it was. But The counselor said, the meaning in my life is to know, love, and serve God. If you want to explore how God was in your past, how God was in your life and not in your life, I know you don't believe in God, which is fine, but I know at some point he was in your life in some way.
Yeah, like, fuck that guy. Or
thing-
girl.
Fuck that guy. So like it's really shitty.
Fuck
and
that
then
counselor.
to make
Like,
it
come
worse, Mary Pepper, who is the counselor, she
That's
does
not a
her
real
court-mandated counseling surreptitiously at the fucking public library.
Well, fuck Pepper.
Yes.
Fuck
Mary Pepper.
Mary Pepper.
Mary
Plus-
Poppins,
That's a stupid
bitch.
name, by the way.
It is.
She's
It's a
she's a-
super stupid name.
Fuck Pepper.
You're a jerk face.
Hey.
Well, if your
What's-
last name is Pepper, you might as well name your kid Salt, like Salt
Art-
Pepper.
Salt.
Or
No.
something.
Right.
We're,
And
we're
middle name
attacking the
and-
person.
Yeah.
We're
and
yes,
not
we're
the
Salt.
problem.
we're
SAP.
attacking the person who
Salt and pepper.
forced the other person into counseling.
Right, but we're
and-
attacking the person and not what she's
But
doing.
what happened to
So-
separation of church and state?
Well, that's the
That
thing.
doesn't exist.
This is.
I know
this
it's
is
I know it's bullshit, but I just thought I'd bring it up.
That's what happened. It
It's
didn't.
in New Mexico. It's in New Mexico. but
Oh, they're going
to
to build
make-
a wall.
I
They're gonna
prefer
pay for a
old
wall or
Mexico.
something.
Somehow shittier than old Mexico. Okay.
to make matters worse, Mary
I like middle-aged
Pepper,
Mexico.
not just to fuck Mary Pepper, but she does her counseling at the library. She forces.
Okay, we totally lost the script here.
Not just to fuck Mary Pepper.
Oh, that is
somebody-
the main component.
Somebody's got to Google an image of Mary Pepper, just so we know.
Yeah.
So we
Who
should,
are we fucking?
Yeah, we might want to stop.
I want to
saying
know
that.
who I'm fucking.
Oh, jeez.
Also,
Not
like,
just-
when
I think
you
your husband wants to know too.
He might. He never listens to this podcast, so I think we're okay.
Neither does my wife.
well, but the one thing that when you read that, so she lost custody of her children, and
Yeah.
and I don't mean to turn it around and attack the lady, but at some point it would seem somewhat reasonable to kind of suck up the bullshit for sake of keeping your children if you know that the system is fucking broken.
Well, I think.
Like I don't know. Those are just some thoughts that I had.
I mean, the fact that she was hoping to get some help co-parenting. I mean, as a stepmother who was married to a guy who has 2 kids from a previous relationship, it's a real issue, and co-parenting is at the best of times a clusterfuck. And having professionals to help guide you and to help with that situation is helpful. It's good to have that stuff. And personally, I've been through not necessarily the co-parenting thing, but looking for a counselor to begin with is a challenge because there's no obvious indicator whether a counselor is secular or religious. Because I've been to 3 different ones, and the second one was, I mean, yeah, alarm bells kind of go off when you go to a church and the office is inside the church. And then you think, okay, well, maybe they'll set aside their beliefs and help me talk through my shit without bringing Jesus into it. But then I find out that they attend a church that one of my family members attends.
Oh, no, that's not the right Mary Pepper. She died at 101 years old.
I don't want to fuck that Mary Pepper.
I was just gonna say
That is
that's pretty fucked up
That
already.
is one possessed vagina.
Yes.
Bring out the Vulcan fingers.
This might be her.
This episode is now called Possessed Vagina.
No, that might be her.
Oh. I might have to put a bag over her face, but I'll do it. I'll do it.
Brown bag it.
I think I'd rather just put the bag over my face.
It's easier that way.
Yeah,
I know, yes, we're being a bunch of judgmental assholes.
that's
but-
what we are.
But it's in the name of
Sorry,
comedy.
that's douchey.
The thing about the whole counseling thing, this whole article is, and not to sound crass or rude, it has the whole
He says before
he says,
No offense. No offense.
No, it's no. I don't care if I offend people.
No, then don't say no.
I didn't say no offense.
Don't mean to be crass.
I don't mean to be crass.
Okay.
So it has, yes, the article has to do with trying to find a counselor to help co-parent, but that's not the issue, right? That just happens to be what set the whole thing off. This isn't a new thing. This happens every day with court-ordered AA.
Well, yeah.
Because AA is any 12-step program, you have to first surrender to God.
Yeah,
and
AA
so
is
you're
not as secular as they like you to think.
No, but a judge
Definitely.
can force you to go through AA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, because they
if you
think
say,
it's a healing step.
No, and
or
it's been debunked as
even
being
if
bullshit.
even if
but-
you're having like liver cirrhosis, you have to go through. You have to go to rehab. If you are a chronic drinker, you have to go through rehab, and that might include AA-based therapy.
Yeah,
And-
a mandated 12-step program.
Yeah,
I would
so if
think.
you're on the verge of dying and you want to get on the transplant list, it's mandatory that you go through that treatment.
Yeah.
So it's
a system that's been proved not to work.
Yeah.
All it does is generate customers for them.
I would refer people to the BC Humanist podcast. They recently had 2 speakers on discussing the AA situation and atheism. It's
That's fascinating
pretty
to me.
frustrating.
I'll have to check that out.
Have you seen the Penn and Teller, like the bullshit program on
Yeah.
I haven't
AA?
seen that one.
It's pretty good.
I should check that one out.
And just about every podcast has had, like, I think the Thinking Atheist had an AA episode, and Dogma Debate had an AA episode.
I don't think the Thinking Atheist specifically had an AA episode, but when they talked to the secular sex guy, what was his name?
Daryl?
Daryl?
Dr. Daryl Ray?
Yeah, he touched on that a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, that was more recent, right?
Yeah.
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 I think in the further past
Previously
they've
they
had.
did. I thought I listened to all of them, but I guess I didn't.
I'm pretty sure they had one, and I've also listened to all of them.
We've all listened to all of
I
them.
could be wrong. I'm going to admit that I could be wrong. I did binge
We
listen.
could also all be wrong.
But I just wanted to make the point that, I mean, in our specific situation in our province, the connection between, like with my personal experience with my husband's employee family assistance program, you phone this number and then you get a list. And the first time I didn't specifically ask for a secular therapist, thinking, okay, nobody's going to let their beliefs interfere with their job, right? But then...
Have you heard of Brad Wall?
Well, I believe the best. I'm cursed to believe the best in people and to be like, I'm going to give them the benefit of my good opinion.
You're not a
You're not
cynic
going to
yet.
shove Jesus. I have my days. You're not going to shove Jesus down my throat. But then when I said I was an atheist, and she said, well, everyone has their journey. I was like,
fuck you.
I can't do this. I can't do this. And I sent
Are you
her,
by any chance Mary Pepper?
Let's find a picture. No. I can't fault her because she's fucking brainwashed, and I had to go to a different therapist. But I had to phone this program again and ask specifically, and we had to go through the people that they have on their list, and like they have Christian counseling. People that do Christian counseling, but there's nobody that says specifically, I am a secular therapist. And in the States, they have the Secular Therapist Project.
We don't have that.
We
do
don't
we?
have that. There's going to be I did contact them.
Okay.
Asking if, is there something that you can do for me? And they were like, well, they actually were very helpful and very, very quick on responding, which was great. But
there's just nothing here.
There's nothing here.
Well, we are Alabama North, so.
But if you think about it, there shouldn't be a list of secular therapists, because this is being done through our health system.
Yes.
There should be therapists, and then there should be religious therapists.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean,
they should all be secular.
These people have like decades of experience in counseling. And you have experience dealing with me as a stepmom and dealing with step families and the unique issues that they face. I mean, why do you have to put Jesus or God into it? Like, why the fuck do you have to talk about God?
Well,
Like-
I think a person who thinks that God is a solution to your problems should not be managing a prescription pad.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
at that point, pick one, and then
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
Yeah,
it
the
wasn't
number
like
of things wrong with
Actually, somebody super religious and having a prescription pad,
should be.
that's hypocrisy right there.
luckily,
I want them handling my prescription pad.
luckily,
Jesus
she didn't
wants me
a
to have
prescription
Valium.
pad. She didn't have a prescription pad, thankfully. I don't know. I would have been probably prescribed numerous things.
Prayer,
Which I
and
can-
extra prayer.
Come to church with us.
3
Go
Hail
into the
Marys.
sanctuary.
Church. It's like a video game. It's pay to pray.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So yeah, that's I don't know. That these kinds of stories frustrate me because
Yeah,
I,
for
I
sure.
just as a baby atheist, I'm like, fuck you, Jesus. Don't
And fuck all the people who want to force that shit on you.
Yes.
Like,
And-
that's the
Yes.
thing.
I think
And
the
fuck
problem
Mary
is
Pepper.
And fuck Mary,
fuck Mary
Pepper.
Pepper.
we seem to be never can move away from this idea that Jesus, God, that's good. And so you have to have that in there to be able to get any kind of healing or moving or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Jesus-
I mean, because therapy, whether it's what you were talking about or in the case of this article, it's not a hard science, so you can't, So now it's all up to interpretation, and that's why. Well, we're trying to do good, so where do we start with good? Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Go fuck yourself.
You know, a lot of the
That seems like
I'm probably the only one here who has a degree in this field. So,
yes.
Hey, lend us your
Yeah, you might-
I was going to say, even though it's not a hard science, there's still several different like modalities and therapies that have
Yeah.
techniques,
Oh, yeah.
and purposes and validity and all those kinds of things.
Yeah,
like
it's still a science.
yeah, there's
It's
still a
just not
science
hard
to it. So
Yeah.
so I think anybody who's in a counseling position, especially somebody who's a doctorate and has spent all this time studying these things, shouldn't be succumbing to explore God, explore this. Like, they should be literally thinking about the different, whether it's narrative therapy, whether it's reality therapy, whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy, like on and on and on, right? There's,
Yeah.
there's actual techniques. Like,
Yeah, well,
actual
turning to
things.
Jesus or God is just copping out, right?
Well, yeah, like
In a sense.
You know what? I'm not really listening. Just go talk to Jesus.
Well, and the only time that should be brought up if the person themselves is like that's their thing, they're religious, and that's where they turn to for the support community. Well, then fine, that's what you do. Like, you don't push it on anybody. You don't tell people go.
Yeah,
to this,
well,
go to
that
It's
makes sense if it's within their own kind of
exactly.
realm.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
bringing in logic.
Well, because you want to stay within your client's frame of reference.
Exactly.
You want
exactly.
to do whatever is most effective to them. And I mean,
Yeah, personal
Exactly.
beliefs shouldn't be relevant, right?
They shouldn't. They shouldn't.
No.
It should
The
all
client's
be about
personal
the
beliefs should.
Yeah, the client's personal beliefs, like
Yeah.
their particular worldview, as the apologists like to say.
So there's another shortcoming. When you call in saying, "Hey, I need help with this," they should be asking you
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah.
That's one step added.
like, what
makes
do
it
you need
easier.
help with? Like,
No.
they should be asking you.
Hey, so you need some help. Are you religious? Do you subscribe to a religion? Do you want
Well,
that to be part of
and
your
I
counseling?
made that comment
Yeah.
to the EFAP program. I said to the person I spoke with on the phone, I said, in future, can you please let your manager know or somebody that this is a thing? And there's some people that do not want to have people that are religious or that are providing religious therapy.
But
you know?
I disagree with Gumby. I don't think that should even be an issue. That's like saying, all right, let's say you have a therapist who pushes reading comic books as a therapeutic thing, like, and he just insists that you should do this. Leave it.
I don't mean it as
I
as a mode
endorse
of
reading
therapy.
comic books as a therapeutic
Fuck
process.
you, Mary Pepper.
and that's great.
Fuck off, Barry Pepper.
Yeah, but it should not matter. Even if you're going to see a Hindu therapist,
Yeah.
it shouldn't matter what his views are.
Yeah.
He should be able to treat everybody.
Right.
Well,
no,
and
and I'm not saying
Right,
it
I
as.
think that's a fair point.
Which requires a neutral
Yeah,
perspective.
neutral perspective, and
none of the.
Yeah, because you might have one. Oh, I'm a Christian, like, psychologist. I only treat Christians. I can do some some Hindus, but I don't do any other religions. Like that's crap.
That's not how
everybody.
I was
But I think
positioning it.
you both kind of have a point though, like because you said that when somebody's asking for help, they can be asked, okay, well, you person asking for help, are you of like what is your? Do you have religion? No religion? Like what are your beliefs?
Do you want it to be part of your thing? Because they're
think
called
that's
intake.
fair.
They're called intake questions, right?
Yeah.
And Dave uses them every day at work.
Well,
or did
sort of.
Yeah, not in my well, actually, no. In my current position, I guess I do sometimes.
Yeah. So intake questions, you're just trying to narrow it down to more specifics for that client.
Oh, if they have specific requests, like I would like to be treated by Hindu.
But like I'm saying, like when Angela called in the first time, she had no idea that religion was going to have any role.
I didn't know.
And that could be a stressor. So if you break that down at the beginning, I worded
because
it
it was
shitty,
part
but
of my issue too. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to talk through those
As is your
issues
want to
and
do.
to talk to somebody who was devoutly religious. I didn't think that I was going to be able to be truly honest about my feelings because of the way that I am. I don't necessarily want to be controversial all the time. This is a different story, but in the way of like talking about my feelings and shit, I wanted to fucking be honest about it and be honest about how atheism is and how my fucking religious parents piss me off sometimes with their Jesus talk and stuff. And I don't think I could have said that to somebody who was a Bible thumper. So, but like you said, you need to, like the profession, there needs to be some kind of ethics where you don't shove your beliefs down
and there
people's
is, and that's the thing, is there is, and there's also the reality that we're like people who in counseling positions are told that if somebody comes in that you have some conflict with ideologically, something that you can't actually provide adequate service for them, you have to declare that conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And find them a suitable replacement.
Mhm.
That's the ethical thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, if I have somebody coming in who's, denying some kid something because of whatever religious belief, and I'm completely opposed to that, either I have to report that to like authorities, or maybe depending what the situation is, what the details
Right.
are, or I have to abandon that and give it to somebody else because I just can't handle that, right? So
Because a religious view would be less of a legal matter, rather.
it might not be, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, depending on the legal matter, like
Right,
again,
right,
if they
yeah.
believe in abusing their kids
Or
because God
not
told them
treating
something.
illness, or
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but if it's other things that I just don't agree with, like the way they treat like their homosexual son or something like that,
right.
it's like
Yeah.
I can't necessarily coerce them. I mean,
Yeah.
I do
But
have to allow
Yeah,
somebody else to deal with
that
that.
seems really tough to.
Yeah,
That would be-
this is a bad example. There's probably better examples, but the point is
Just
that,
let them put the kid in conversion therapy.
well,
Like,
there's only so many lines you can cross as a counselor, and,
Right.
and you have to. Yeah, you have to allow the client to dictate that a bit. And so,
Yeah.
unless there's some actual danger to somebody, but I mean, I could argue there's danger to somebody in some situations, I guess, but
And that would
ultimately,
be- it
they
would-
shouldn't serve you then if they can't.
And I
right?
mean, ultimately, like it ended amicably, and I was blunt with her, and I said, like, the issues that I want to explore involve atheism, and I don't think that you're the right person to explore those issues with. So, and she was very respectful, and I mean, that's fine.
am I glad I don't have to deal with that shit?
It was interesting. It was interesting and kind of depressing.
high
at the
five for
same time.
internalizing everything.
Holy fuck.
There's so many times I have
It's just-
clients who tell me
wow.
the most bizarre, craziest shit, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, okay, and what does that mean for you? I'm just like, holy cow! Like, how do you even think that?
Like, how do
that's-
you
Right.
make sure that your facial expressions don't betray your actual thoughts?
Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to do that.
You know, I
Dave has to
Like
do
rolling your eyes.
Botox every morning before he
Yeah.
goes to work.
There's we actually took a communications class in my degree.
Is that right?
Is that right?
And so in the communications class, you like film yourself doing interviews.
Okay.
And they actually tell you different techniques and different stances. And
So
things
don't
like
wear that. Oh my god, you believe
Exactly.
that face?
A lot of it's like the lean. You got to do you don't want to get too close, but you got to do the little lean. You don't want to be back. You want to be forward just slightly.
Right, as though you're interested.
And you're not allowed to
Yeah.
actually smack your forehead.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just give them some eye contact. Look
Okay,
away, give them some more eye
that's
contact.
very
Oh, yeah.
interesting. Thanks.
Yeah.
wow.
We literally were taught those things. So
Well, that makes sense that you would be told how to do that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
properly because you don't want to freak people out.
I do it now without thinking about it sometimes. So
Well, that's good. So obviously it works.
So when you're talking to Dave and he's acting a certain way, you know,
if you
he's
see
just-
him, if he's
that's your
he's just
counselor's
humoring
stance.
you.
if you see him do the lean, he's actually totally turning you out.
the
You're
lean,
doing
and the
nothing.
side look like this, and I don't want to look too intimidating.
So how does
Cocking
that
your
make
head a
you
little
feel?
Yeah, exactly.
That feels like a challenge now. Like I want to go get help and just get the therapist to say, "What the fuck, man?"
Well, if you can do that, yeah, that'd be.
Yeah, if you can get a therapist to say "what the fuck,"
But-
that would be a classic. You have to record that.
Yeah, well, I'd have to record the whole session.
That's the new challenge. The what the fuck's challenge. Can you make it
The brainstorm challenge.
Though I think that a lot
of course, our challenge is WTF.
though therapists
new segment.
get paid enough that they're willing to listen to a bunch of shit and just like, oh, just counting the money, just counting the money. Like, I can listen. I can listen to.
you like to stick things
like
where?
Yeah. That is very interesting.
Seriously, some of these psychologists get $100 an hour.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Some
That's
of them.
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't. I'm a
I were-
lowly social worker. My counseling skills are not the same.
Social workers don't.
If I were to hire the one that I just finished seeing, I would have to pay $100 an hour.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had to go through my husband's
fuck,
benefit program.
You could do like 4 clients a day and be fine. 5 days a
Well,
week. Like,
yeah.
holy shit. That's
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why
pretty
they
good.
want you to keep coming back every week, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So,
Wait, big psychology.
Big
They're not-
psychology.
They're not helping people. They're making customers.
That's an AA slogan. Keep coming back.
All right,
just take it
let's
full circle.
move on.
Budweiser slogan.
Let's stop creating conspiracy theories about psychology and move on to Gumby's story.
I have a story.
You did.
Once upon a time.
Not that one. Oh, just throwing shit all over the floor. So this one actually really, really pisses me off.
Okay.
I've talked about something similar to this before, but so Australia just recently passed a new law. It's a blasphemy law, which we have in Canada. That never gets enacted, really. They passed this blasphemy law in the hopes of preventing hate speech. I can go through and be a little more specific, but it's just your standard fucking blasphemy law. The problem with these coming out now, and a lot of it is against because of a lot of the hate speech against Muslims and stuff like that. The problem with passing these laws is it doesn't reduce hate; it increases it. Because now the people that demand to have their soapbox have just had the soapbox pulled out from under them. Yeah. I always say, let the bigots talk and sound like an idiot, and then people can make up their own minds about things.
Yes, I've heard other people say that.
The other side of this is it's not a far step from having a blasphemy law to having a law where you can't draw Muhammad because you'll go to jail or get beheaded, right? It's
Well, and it back to your previous point, the conservative right, like the ones that bitch about any kind of government interference, like any kind of
freedom
law,
speech,
like
blah blah blah.
like
yeah.
this perfectly plays into what they've been warning for a long time. Yeah, soon the government will tell you when and where to fart and what to say when and where. So this plays exactly into what they've been telling, what Fox has been telling their followers all along.
Yeah.
The thing is they're calling this left wing. This is so far right wing.
Well, it's
that it turns around and looks left wing.
Yeah, it's both.
when you spin
right?
it, right?
At this point, it's both.
Yeah.
Because in many cases, the desire to not offend a particular group has become this kind of legal limitation on speech. And while I'm often an advocate of controlling what hateful speech we have, this in particular seems over the line.
The thing is with speech,
And
like
it's overly ambiguous as well.
Oh, of course it is. They're not going to get specific because then.
Although isn't that what Trump is constantly saying? It's the PC crowd and trying to limit speech and blah blah blah.
Oddly enough, he also advocates for limited speech by the press as long as it's criticizing him.
Well, I mean, the simple answer to that is he's an asshole. But
Well, yeah, no, that's right. But
the thing you have to have is you need both. You need control on what gets said, but that can only be controlled in media and in public places where the government's involved. You can't control what I say to somebody else. And I've had this discussion with so many people that it's not because we have anti-blasphemy laws, we have
hate speech laws.
Hate speech laws. It's not hate speech if I'm just saying my opinion to some person, right? I can say something against gay people if I want. It's not hate speech at that point. It's when I'm propagandaing, when I'm trying to push an agenda, when I'm trying to be vocal and on a soapbox in a public place,
inciting a group into action.
That's when it becomes hate speech,
Well,
which is fine. You need laws against that, for sure you do.
It seems reasonable.
And when you're inciting violence more than anything, like it is legal for the KKK to operate as long as they just host their little marches and protests or whatever they may have. Like it as long as you don't incite violence or incite illegal activity.
Sure.
Then it.
Yeah, there seems to be a legitimate difference between oppressive or hateful speech and criticism of an idea or a doctrine or whatnot.
Yeah, and nobody gets to decide what criticisms are allowed. So that gives the freedom to the Westboro Baptist Church to have their "Thank God for Dead Soldiers" signs and their petitions and stuff. As long as they're not trespassing, breaking the law, or inciting violence directly, then they're not doing anything wrong. They're just assholes.
Well, and see, it's interesting because in the U.S. they have almost ultimate type freedom of speech, where the Westboro Baptist Church is free reign, right? Like they can say what the fuck they want and nobody's going to limit that. But in Canada, we have like almost a different version of that, where the Westboro Baptist Church is viewed as almost a hate-filled or an incitement to hatred or an incitement to action, where we will stop certain people like Peter LaBarbera.
Oh, what a douchebag.
At the border trying to get into Canada because that's what they're doing. That's the kind of hateful speech
but I should say, because they're part of an organization or a group that are spreading it, right?
That's.
But at what point do churches in general become hate groups? Because they are. Definitively.
It sure seems like at times they are.
And if you're this is going to sound really right-wing douchebag Saskatchewan, but if you're part of a group that doesn't have to pay taxes for anything, you shouldn't be preaching public policy. Churches, I don't think should have a position on public policy.
Well, that's I think,
or religious groups.
I don't think that's necessarily a thing that we should decide who can and can't have a position on public policy. But as far as hate groups go, it kind of goes back to the inciting violence. Like if the Westboro Baptist Church all of a sudden started carrying signs, kill fags instead of God hates fags, that would turn it around very, very quickly. Yeah. Because then they're directly advocating for something. Yeah. If you just say, praise God for dead soldiers and God hates fags, that is not, they're not directly ordering or directly promoting something. They're just stating whatever, like
what their beliefs,
what their beliefs are. Yeah. So that is free speech, though it is by all accounts very hateful speech, but it doesn't fall.
Fred Phelps was a lawyer, so he knew that fine line.
Exactly,
he knew to dance on that fine line.
Right. Yeah. And that is kind of where the line is drawn. Like anybody can say anything that is their opinion, but you cannot incite violence or promote illegal activity.
You can't publish it.
Yeah, you while you can't even personally you can't go around carrying a sign, hate X group of people, or kill X group of people.
Right.
So because that is directly inciting violence, and violence is illegal.
I can carry a sign saying right-handed people make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and that but you can't say kill right-handed people.
No.
Like so that's kind of where the difference, because I'm left-handed as well. Like right-handed people make me uncomfortable. Right.
No, we're the norms.
I'm kidding.
You're the freaks.
No, but
I'm uncomfortable by your discomfort.
And that's we have to be very.
We won't even talk about the ambidextrous people.
Fuck those guys.
I am actually borderline ambidextrous. Not quite.
Fucking pick
You
one?
pick one.
God damn it, you pick one.
I think my daughter's
You can't be
ambidextrous.
both.
Okay. I think we spent enough time on that.
All right.
Yeah.
It was good, though.
We've slipped into silliness.
We have. That may be my fault. Maybe not. No, it's Gumby's fault. It's Gumby's fault.
When
He's
in doubt,
left-handed.
blame Gumby.
He's left-handed. Okay.
Fucking evil.
If you like what we're doing and want to help us keep the lights on, go become a patron at patreon.com/Brainstorm Podcast. You can hear the bonus half hour that we record every episode and get a shout out when you support the show. Become a patron for just $1 an episode at patreon.com/Brainstorm Podcast. Or you can support the show by ordering a t-shirt, mug, or other gear from our store at caffeepress.ca/Brainstorm Podcast Gear. If you can't afford to become a patron or buy gear, then why not give us a rating or write a review on iTunes or Stitcher? Every rating makes it easier for people to find us. Thanks for your support.
We are given one life, full of billions of small and large decisions. To be somebody, to change, to be kind, to give hope, to become a better person, and to leave a lasting impact on this planet. It is a decision to be made every single day while your heart is still beating. We've made our decision. Absence of Clothing, atheist and science-based apparel and merchandise, donating 50% of our profits to charity. Look good and feel good, without God. Check us out at absenceofclothing.com and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest for discount codes and other sweet swag.
At a time, in a place, in a world, millions have suddenly vanished, and no one knows why. What is behind this mystery? Is it man? Is it evil? Is it God? Stay on top of the breaking news with your KUSA 9 News at Night team, your podcast leader in investigative journalism.
Find out more information about the Atheist Apocalypse podcast at atheistapocalypse.com, baby.
This time, it's for Fnarius.
So I didn't take all our what the fucks and put them into a promo for a bumper for this segment, but this is our what the fuck segment. And this is Leo's story.
All right.
Because this doesn't fit anywhere else where we have things.
You can just all say what the fuck.
What the fuck?
Huh?
What the fuck?
All right, we'll get that better next time.
We'll figure something out better.
No, we won't. You guys are promising more than we can give.
No, we're promising you deliver. That's how it works.
You're promising more than I can deliver.
Remember everything I used to tell you? I used to tell people would be on the website?
Yeah.
The next day?
And none of it was?
Yeah. It's because you're not committed to this like the rest of us. You're not invested.
That's right.
All right,
Sorry.
so for this segment of What the Fuck.
What the fuck?
So I came across this article from the National Review. And
that sounds like a legit paper.
And immediately I said in my head, what the fuck? Because the title of the article says, Men are getting weaker because we're not raising men. And the subtitle, Young American males are losing touch with a critical element of true masculinity. So I was like, all right, you have my attention. And so the article is basically it's basically just a right-wing conservative douchebag ranting on about how men nowadays, or millennials, boys specifically, are less strong than they were when he grew up. And I'm assuming that this fucker is old.
Well, I'll admit I didn't read the article, but the first thing that popped up on my tablet was something
Get off my lawn.
something about grip strength. I'm like, is this what he's judging it by?
Well, so I'm gonna go into that. So they cite a study that was run from the 80s to test grip strength of men and women.
Is that when it was? Was in the 80s?
Well, it was from the 80s. That was the earliest, like the first time that this was that this test was done. Okay. So I had to click several times. It was like third hand quoting of the study.
Right.
So, but I found the original study, and while it was pretty meaningless, like, and even the study itself said like this is not really proving anything. But yes, it seems that a person in 1983, an 18-year-old dude, had more grip strength than a guy in like 2015. So it was very marginal. It wasn't very significant.
I can't help but wonder what the demographics studied were.
So what they did, they did a study of 237 people. So it's
actually not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. But like I said, like there is a real study, but the real study was basically like they said, well, it's like not super important necessarily. They kind of pissed on their own study. They're like, well, yeah, and which is not really important. Like the study itself, it was obviously they just inserted this to give some legitimacy to the rant that they were going to do anyway for this article.
Okay.
So, and I was thinking about some of the things why this is just completely irrelevant. So even, let's just say hypothetically, even if men are weaker now than they were in the 80s, well, mind you, in the 80s we had a lot less technology that did heavy lifting for us. So if you have technology equals less manual labor will equal an overall weaker population, which by qualifying it as a bad thing, well, it doesn't.
Can we say physically weaker?
Well,
weaker seems overarching.
Well, let's say less muscle strength. If you take a large number of people, let's say nowadays we have, when we do construction, let's say construction workers are pretty strong for the most part, but nowadays being a construction worker is less heavy lifting than it was in the 80s. So nowadays, even construction workers, like just to pick a specific one, will have to do less lifting at their job than they used to do. So like I said, the study is kind of irrelevant, be it true or not, but does it really matter if people have less strength nowadays than they used to?
It's not even just the technology. It's social expectations of people have changed. What we're expected to do as young people, not that I am one of them, but is different. When I was 18, I knew how to change oil in a car. I can take an engine apart. You can't do that with new cars because nobody knows how the fuck they work. It's magic.
You can still change the
magic.
oil.
It's all magic.
Changing the oil still.
It's very easy though. Like it's not like you're. It's not like you're rebuilding the top half of the engine block.
No,
right?
That's magic.
You're not doing your own brake work anymore. You're not replacing your own brake pads for the most part.
I can do that.
You're not legally able.
You don't.
Not legally able to do that.
Your brake pads? Yeah.
I thought you couldn't. You
Yeah,
do that.
no, there's no law.
I can do that.
Not your brakes.
Jobs for young people have changed because there aren't as many young people in construction. Most of the work that's out there for young people is either going to be because when I was young, I went to school and I worked.
Mm-hmm.
Young people don't work as much now because they don't have to at that point in their life, right? A lot of them are.
But
this is a generalization.
This is
all it
where I'm
right?
wondering where the demographics
Exactly,
come
it's
from.
impossible to judge without
Well,
knowing the
to me, this
demographics.
just sounds like bitter old men. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause
and
I know-
millennials don't work as hard as we used to. They're
Yes.
just
Yeah.
lazy bums.
Move
Wow.
move to Weyburn. The young guys there are freaking grown up on farms.
Yeah.
The same,
Well, yeah.
same as any other fucking
Yeah.
guy. was.
but that's kind of a wrong way to take a scientific like analysis of things. So let's say, for example, when I was a kid, my father's always been a farmer. He now farms the same amount as he did back then
With less work.
Back then he needed at least 10 employees. Now 2 people do the
same
same
amount.
work.
Yeah.
So just by extrapolation from that, there are less people working on farms, and more people overall in the world are moving to cities where the majority of the jobs
Yes.
are desk jobs where you sit.
Less of it's menial labor.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's not. It doesn't really even matter if the study has any legitimacy. Like, why would that be a factor in how masculine you are?
Of course. It's all tied into an idea of toxic
Here's another big
masculinity.
difference. Power steering. Done. It's done.
Well,
We're done.
yeah.
Power
No,
steering.
that's right. Power steering. The end.
Do people not masturbate as much? Their hands
Well, that
aren't
was
as
the
performant?
obvious quest. That was the obvious
That's
joke.
more of a
they're talking
toning
grip
issue
strength,
than
right?
a strength issue.
Well, they are talking mostly about grip strength here, Corey. They are talking about grip strength.
It's still just burning calories and toning. That's,
But
I don't know how hard
do you really have to
grip.
It was the 80s. They didn't have internet. They had to work harder for it.
We have too many sex dolls and robot vaginas.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Well, you have to have robot ones because the real ones are all possessed.
When was the fleshlight invented? Because that pretty much takes the
Not
work
early
right.
enough.
But so what really pissed me off about this article is kind of the very obvious implication that they're trying to weave into this that well, our men are not as masculine as they used to be because we are not as strong anymore. And then they even reference to the guys. I'm paraphrasing, but he said the girl in the high school might actually be stronger than the boy in the high school.
Who cares?
Well, and that's exactly so. Right. That's what pissed me off. Like, you have this hardcore misogyny. Like, how dare we allow the women to have the same grip strength as our men who are now pussies and wimps. So
our men aren't men anymore.
And so
I've been asked to try to not
because
use
feminism.
pussy as a way of showing weakness.
Well, but he's demonstrating the misogyny.
Well, it's kind of what that guy was saying. Like, how dare we let? And so that's also kind of what the title was alluding to.
Yes,
like our men are losing a fundamental
because they're not
component
men.
of masculinity.
So to expand on that whole thing, so this is something that's been bugging me for a long time too. The people the older people are like, oh, millennials are all lazy, fucking, they're not going to get anywhere. You know what? It's not the fault of the millennial that the world's fucked. It's not their fault that you might have bought your house by the time you were 20, but your dollar was worth more. You got more money. You got paid better than we do. You know, things.
Shut up with your
more
facts.
affordable.
Shut up with your facts.
We've all seen the meme.
I don't want them.
Shit.
Men are weaker and therefore bad.
There's not enough wars. They have to pack their guns and go off to wars.
That really makes me think of the meme with the Greatest Generation, and then they show the beaches storming on Normandy,
Yes.
and then the new generation, and it's people in their safe spaces or whatever they say. Like,
Yes.
Safe spaces are not a bad thing when you've been oppressed for a while, like when your group has been historically oppressed. I mean, I'm nearing 40 and I get this, so this really shouldn't be that hard for fucking people to get.
But yeah, the misogyny in this article made me go, "What the fuck?"
Yes. What the fuck, indeed.
I think it's adequate for
They're
this
weak,
fucking
so they're not
category.
men.
Because all the women are. Yeah, you're right.
I can
Reading
feel that I
stronger.
am weaker than I was at the age of 20, because at the age of 20 I was consistently working on a farm, like, and for the past 5 years I've had desk jobs.
Can I my bench press is better, but my deadlift is worse than say 10 years ago?
You'll get
No
there.
comment.
What's a deadlift?
Like when you lift a dead guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I can lift a
You
bigger
lift.
dead guy now. No, I used to be able to lift a bigger dead guy than I can.
But also, it's not as necessary now. You kill less people, I'm assuming.
I do. I kill less people. I kill
Slacker.
at least
So-
5
Fucking old
less
guy.
people per year.
So if I need to lift a dead guy, who do I go to now?
Fewer
Somebody
people, Corey.
stronger.
Okay. My brother. He's the guy.
Unless you have 2 of us, then I
And
can
then-
still help you.
Okay.
The women are the strong ones now.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, just get a woman.
All right, I'm going to totally do that.
If you want one pushed off of my chest, I can do a better.
Well,
one
just
than I
Now,
can.
why are we
push
being
him off of a
cis-normative
boat.
here? Huh?
What?
Shut up, yeah.
What?
Why are we being normative?
Normative?
Gender normative.
Gender normative?
I don't know. I guess a lady can help me push it. I don't know. Not
Because
planning
men are
anything.
getting weaker and therefore they're not men.
I'm not planning any murders.
Okay, Jerry.
Yeah,
What are we going to talk about now?
nothing. No,
No?
we have
Your
a
mama.
couple. We have a couple other things. Even though Stephanie
My
is
mom is a
waiting
fucking
downstairs.
saint. She already?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock.
Oh,
We haven't even done
no.
the bonus round.
We haven't done fuck all tonight. Let's do
Outro.
Outro. I still can't get to Rebellion. It's fucking
I haven't
closed.
hit that Atheism for Dummy bumper yet.
Okay, let's hit. We don't have a Skepticism 101 bumper. Let's do Skepticism 101. So this is the continuum fallacy. This is
Q.
improperly rejecting a claim for being imprecise. It's an informal fallacy that causes one to erroneously reject a vague claim simply because it's not as precise as one would like it to be. Vagueness alone does not necessarily imply invalidity. There's a couple examples here.
That's pretty simple.
What's the fallacy of the beard?
Fred cannot grow a beard. There's no such thing as a beard.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Fred is clean shaven. If a person has no beard, one day of growth will not cause them to have a beard. Therefore, Fred can never grow a beard. It's similar to the grain of sand is never a pile. At what point does it become a pile? At some point, even though we have no specific number that causes it to be a pile, at some point it is a pile.
Maybe that's where the number 42 comes in. It's got to be somewhere.
I don't know. My daughter seems to think that 50 grains of sand is a pile.
So 49 can't be.
So 49 can't be.
All
She's
right.
9 though.
No, we can go
10.
with that.
Sorry, she's
She'll
10.
get that.
So, I mean,
Wait till she's 12.
maybe she's got the answers, maybe she doesn't.
I think it's good to use the arguments of a 9-year-old.
Yeah, I think so.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's
Sometimes.
pretty legit.
So if you took 40, your daughter and 39 of her friends, and just put them on one
You
spot,
still wouldn't have a grain of sand.
That wouldn't be a
pile
pile
of sand.
Right. Okay, we're good.
We are good.
That was easy.
Something that is quite often used is in abortion debates. It's the idea of when does life start?
Oh,
Yes.
No, not the grain of sand or pile of sand.
This is a pile of babies.
This is a pile of babies.
It's going
Or
to be my lunch.
when does life
slow
start?
cooker for tomorrow.
It happens to be on a continuum, and at some point we arbitrarily decide when life starts.
Yeah.
doctors have ascertained that life starts once the baby is able to breathe and continue to have a heartbeat, and from that point able to continuously develop on its own.
Okay. There's also
I'm just answering your question.
There's also some who think that it happens to depend on brain activity.
Well, that's what that is.
Right. So brain activity
Because your brain activity determines if your heart's beating.
equals life. Therefore,
A certain amount. You have to have a
Brain
certain amount of brain activity. Just any at all, not enough. Has to be a certain amount. 50.
0.1.
Has to be 50.
When my uncle was in a coma, he was brain dead, but they had him on life support. And then when they took them off life support, his heart beat for 8 minutes after they pulled the plug. But he had no brain activity.
Sure.
Right.
That's a muscle that's been
So he had
beating for
no
50
brain
some years.
activity, which means he
Zero.
wasn't alive.
Not alive.
Even though his heart was
Technically,
beating.
No, it's kind of creepy though. Part of him was.
I'm
still
sure.
working.
I'm sure it
I
was.
wasn't there. I was across an ocean. I didn't.
I'm sure it was. I'm sorry for your loss.
It was 16 years ago.
Yeah, that's still not cool.
Shit happens. Thank you for your. Sorry.
He's in a better place.
Question mark.
Some people would think so.
Yeah.
He was a cool guy.
Because
but-
not being alive is better.
Dealing with some of the shit that.
Well, some people think that is not being alive
no,
because
we're
it's
here,
the
and this
afterlife.
being here sucks, and they can't wait to not be here.
That's right.
You know what? I wish none of those people were here.
The people that, we would be in a better place, I think.
Just stop being pansies and just go to the place that's better.
Go to heaven already.
Yeah. I think I might tell my parents that.
You know that spirit in the sky?
Let's go to heaven.
Heaven already.
I guess
You're so eager to go there.
Just
fucking
drink
go there.
the fucking Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Oh, we're terrible.
We've gone to a dark
You're a
place.
terrible
We've
person.
gone to a dark place.
You are a bad person.
Is anyone still listening?
It only took 5 minutes. Let's go to Atheism for Dummies.
If you're not daily walking in a place of relationship to God, then the news that we have to bring you is that you're on your way to hell right now.
Oh, you're barking up the wrong tree, Meg. I'm an atheist.
I suspect that the Pope is an atheist.
I don't believe in God.
Right.
Yeah.
This is Apologetics Part 3. We've done this twice already. This is the apologetic of prophetic fulfillment.
Ooh.
Yes.
Sounds ominous.
So I'm going to read right from the wiki. Okay?
All right.
In his book Science Speaks, Peter Stoner argues that only God knows the future and that biblical prophecies of a compelling nature have been fulfilled. Apologist Josh McDowell documents the Old Testament prophecies fulfilled by Christ.
What is with you and not Englishing?
You're an Englishing.
See?
Well,
There was a philosopher
I
named
think it's that he's drinking sort of beer today.
Relating to his ancestral line, birthplace, virgin, birth. Fuck you, man. Miracles, death, and resurrection. Apologist Blaise Pascal believed that the prophecies are the strongest evidence for Christianity. He notes that Jesus not only foretold, but was foretold, unlike in other religions, and that these prophecies came from a succession of people over a span of 4,000 years.
Unlike other religions, Christianity is right because Jesus said that Christianity was right when he told people that it was right.
Exactly.
So I've got a couple links.
Believe that.
The Wikipedia of Postdiction, the debunkingskeptics.com/debunkingchristians page, and Rational Wiki /biblical prophecies. And basically the point is you have to show that these prophecies are accurate and have actually been fulfilled before you can actually trust them. And nobody has been able to actually do that.
As far as I understand, the main criticism of the whole prophecy thing is most people chalk it up to self-fulfilling prophecies or prophecies that they later attribute to. So let's say if somebody once said something and then something happens and then making the connection like, oh,
yeah,
this sort of fits into what that guy once said would happen. Because we have people making prophecies, air quotes.
The end of the world is come like what, 6 times?
Yeah. So
At least that.
So if I say that, you know, the United States will start a new war and it will be devastating. That's a prophecy that at some point there will probably be a war.
Yeah.
And then somebody could say, oh yeah, Leo once said that the United States will start a devastating war. Well, fuck me, wars are devastating and it is not hard. So a lot of the prophecies, they're pretty vague.
Yeah.
So you can fit it like the Messiah coming, for example, like the main one that Josh McDowell uses. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, yeah, you can. There's probably been 100 other people in the Jewish tradition who they could have said, oh yeah, you know, this is a prophet, a Messiah, a sort of wise dude who could fit a description of said Messiah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like some people have argued that Jesus read, or some people have read these previous prophecies, and then they've written things or did things in an attempt to fulfill said prophecy.
Yeah, like the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, like
not quite. We're close.
The Messiah would ride a donkey into Jerusalem. Well, okay, so fucking Jesus did that. That's okay. Good, done. Prophecy fulfilled. The end.
Generally, prophecy can only be fulfilled if it's predetermined or pre-known. Right? It can't be considered prophetic if nobody knew about it.
But I think the key is that nobody knows about it. The only real accuracy in it is that nobody knows about it, and then it gets fulfilled anyway.
Yeah.
But there's no way to prove that nobody knew about that beforehand, right?
Yeah.
And there would have to be a very strict guidelines as to what constitutes a fulfilled prophecies, or like very specific, because
you'd have to marry. You'd have to
you would have to know that. You would have to. I don't want to set up the criteria, but there would have to be specific things, because people have said bullshit things all throughout history, like, oh, you know, there will be this or there will be that sometime soon in the future.
Right.
You know, people can make all kinds of weird fucking claims, but if you don't have specifics attached to them, like let's say if there was some guy in the 1500s said that an evil man will rise in Germany by the name of Hitler, and he will kill Jews, you know, and with specific details, that would be a prophecy. Yeah. That it could still be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But Nostradamus totally did that, man.
Well,
sort of.
No, he didn't give specifics.
No, he didn't give any detail at all.
Well, he gave very confusing quatrains,
and so that. If it's not specific, then you can fit a lot of things into that mold.
Yeah.
And what about the fucking Bible code?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Bible code.
The Bible itself.
That's been edited how many times? Yeah.
Yes.
Next.
Exactly.
Or the prophecy where you don't see the
real.
prophecy
It's a
until
thing.
afterwards, but like, you know, you can't enter the Temple of the Winds until there's been 3 red moons and you've been fooled by your third wife. Right? Isn't that what it was?
I can't remember. It's been a long time since I read the Temple of the
You have
Winds.
to have 3 wives first?
That sounds pretty like hard work. Getting married 3 times and then divorcing all
Marriage
of them.
is fucking not for the weak.
Just to fulfill some stupid prophecy.
I want to get into that fucking temple.
Yeah. Where's wife number 2?
I guess Donald Trump is close to that, though. I mean,
He's there. He's been married 3 times.
Hey,
He's on his 4th.
Yeah, maybe he can get into the Temple of the Winds.
No, all we need is what the 3 red full moons. What was it?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
It's been a long time.
Does it have to be full for it to be red?
I'm not sure.
Because sometimes when
We'll never know what color the moon actually is.
Terry
'cause
Goodkind
we've never landed
novels.
on it. Just like the Mars. Just like they now have proof that Mars was a hoax. There's no landing on Mars.
Mars was a hoax.
Nope.
Right.
Yep. Nobody's
Mars
ever landed.
doesn't exist. It's a
chemtrails
total
and Mars.
Yeah, there was
No, chemtrails are real, man. Chemtrails are
There was
real.
no landing on Mars. It was
Sarcasm.
done in an island in Canada. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Right, right.
We don't have islands.
No, we don't.
we have the most islands.
That's being
In what way?
sarcastic.
And I guess Newfoundland and the PEI stuff kind of counts, but how is that the most
Baffin Island.
islands?
We have a shitload up north.
Baffin Island, all that stuff.
How is that
way
the
up-
most
Canada has like 100,000 islands or something like,
Like
that.
the,
Like a
up
ridiculous
north, have you ever
100,000
have you ever
islands?
looked at a
Something like
map?
that.
Have you
like
watched Canada
like,
over the edge?
If you go past where people live, like there's just little dots everywhere.
And people are claiming ownership of that?
Well, they belong to Canada.
There's
like
a lot up there.
It's like fucking ice
There's
up
a
there,
lot
but
up there.
yeah,
Islands
but
exist
there's
as
still
lakes and
islands
rivers too.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
But this is all about apologetics right here.
Sorry.
We're going off on tangents.
Were we
a lot.
talking about
Yeah,
apologetics?
We're talking about Canada. Apologetics. Kind of.
Sorry.
Kind of
Hand in hand.
I'm
Mars.
I'm apologetic
Things,
about Canada.
islands,
I'm
stuff.
sorry.
Much good.
If anyone could follow that train of thought, bravo.
Mary Pepper.
Mary Pepper.
Fuck Mary Pepper.
Vaginas.
All right. Let's
Possessed vaginas.
let's do some paper wrestling. Good. Sounds like we're doing something here.
Yeah.
Okay,
What
so
happened to this episode? It was so good.
Will sent an email asking about last episode's logical fallacy,
I don't know. I wasn't here.
the circular cause and consequence, and wondered if it applied to something that was in a feedback loop. Like climate change, the heating results in the melting of the ice caps, and the melting of the ice caps in turn contributes to the global temperatures. So how does that relate to the circular cause and consequence logical fallacy?
Well, it would be if you falsely claim that something is the cause and then also a symptom, so that if something that is caused by global warming causes more global warming, I guess that there could be some kind of argument that you could spin
Right.
around that.
My point, when I emailed him back, and my thought was that the reason that it's not a logical fallacy in this case is because we're not talking about a closed system, because we have external influences that are causing not just the increase in temperature, but also the melting of the ice caps, which contribute but don't entirely create the increase in temperature.
Also, physical events are not fallacies.
That's true.
How's
yeah,
that?
They're
that's
not
true.
they're not governed by logic.
These are facts, not
So
governed
a
by.
good circular fallacy would be I only read one book, but it's a good book, don't you know? Because the good book knows it's good.
I mean,
like any good book would.
I mean, you like the climate change is not a fallacy, but like the arguments around it, I'm sure you could find arguments within like related to that would be circular, like
right would be circular.
If you're
cause and
descripting
consequence.
something that exists, then not if you're just specifically because describing each of those events as being cause and effect, and being circular, that's not an argument. That's just a description.
Well, I can't think of anything that would be specifically a circular fallacy, but I'm just saying there most likely you could find somebody who would use some of those components and create some sort of circular fallacy in their arguments. But I can't really think of any. I'm not saying that exists, but
on its surface, it seems like it could be a circular cause and consequence issue. But I think that there's more to take into account there.
We need some science.
Yes.
To help us
This is
out.
what science does. Thank you, science. So, thanks to our new patrons, Daryl, Josh, and William. And thanks to our longtime patrons, or since April. That's a long time, right? Rob and Nathan.
Show it is. We'll call it a long time.
For this show it is. Rob and Nathan. And thanks to all of our listeners.
You guys are awesome.
Rob and Nathan.
Well,
no, get out of here.
And now Daryl, Joshua, and William.
5 listeners. Well, and
there's Kayla.
Oh, yeah. That's
6.
right.
Yay.
And all those downloads.
And all those downloads.
Yeah, we're
That's right.
jacked.
Yeah,
We're super
I'm running
jacked.
out of room. I just keep downloading every episode over and over again.
Yeah. We will do another half hour for our patrons. I know we're way behind on our bonus content.
Sorry.
Way to go, Dave.
It's not just Dave's fault.
My
I
life
have an
sucks.
episode at home of bonus content that I haven't got out yet. And we will get that shit out. Patrons also do get the full ad-free episodes the day before the regular feed, including our music break, which I know people like. So I guess that's that.
And they each get a personalized message and signed copy of Corey's underwear.
No.
Underwear.
No. No, you don't want that, and you won't get it.
Handwritten
say what it was
thank you
autographed
card
with.
by Gumby.
Get an
His
official
evil
can of
left
homeopathic beer.
Official can of homeopathic beer. I don't know if you can ship that. I'll send you a homeopathic beer.
You ever see the movie Idle Hands? Yeah, that's my left hand.
All right, let's start that
That's not
outro
me, man.
music.
Can't control it.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Sir.
All right. So, like I said, we're going to record another half hour for our patrons. If you want to keep up with the show, just follow us on Spreaker or on Facebook or on Twitter or
In a van.
or on TuneIn or anywhere that you follow the Brainstorm podcast. Google us. We're one of the top ones.
Yeah.
We're not the top, but we're one of them.
If you Google Brainstorm Podcast Saskatchewan, we'll be the top one.
Last weekend, there was a conference in Niagara Falls. It was the non-con. I hope it went well.
Would have been nice to go.
Yeah, it would have been great to go. There was a live streaming. I hope you guys got to see it. I did not. In mid-September, there's the AB Secular Conference on the 15th and 16th in Edmonton. You can check out the show notes for the link for the Facebook page. First, Facebook.
English.
Language
Second
is hard. I don't know. Speaking is hard. Remember to rate us and write a review on iTunes, but please rate us better than we actually deserve.
Be kind.
Well, I don't think they could actually rate us what we deserve. So anything they rate us
Yeah,
will
so
be
a
higher
1
than-
is probably
than what
better
can
than we deserve.
yeah.
Okay, so also hit that subscribe button. That's what gets us more exposure. Thanks, Dave, for our intro music. Thanks to Alex Capper-Murdoch for doing the voiceover for the intro and some of our ads. Thanks to Jason Camo for our outro music. If you watch Stranger Things, he looks like that cop. Just saying. You can find his stuff at aloststateofmind.com. All music played is either with permission or under the SOCAN license to play. For more information on SOCAN, you can check out the music license info on our website, brainstormblog.net.
We use SOCAN and so can you.
Huh? That hurt.
Fuck.
That hurt.
Boo.
Boo earns.
So can you, eh?
You're just jealous.
You can also get cool Brainstorm gear, though apparently after that comment, nobody will want to. At cafepress.ca/brainstorm podcast gear. If you didn't get a chance to contact us through the live chat going on during the episode, but think you need to tell us something, you can email us at mail@brainstormblog.net or go to brainstormblog.net and go to the contact page. Fill out the contact form and... Yep. And if you have a podcast or a website and want a shout out or have a promo to play, let us know. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in a couple weeks when we have Chris Watson, the Podunk Polymath, joining us.
Wanted to say thanks to everyone who listens to us, shares the show, gives us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher, or supports us through Patreon and Gumroad. We don't have a lot of interaction sometimes with our listeners, but what we have had proves that we attract some of the best people around. Smart, kind, and cool. An audience truly worthy of the titles hardcore and woo-free. Thanks for helping us make the world a smarter place.
This is an opinion-based podcast. Each person on the podcast is responsible for their own opinions, and those opinions don't necessarily reflect the views of the rest of the panel. Any guests or anyone associated with the people on the podcast, such as spouses, partners, children, other family members, friends, or employers. No one person speaks for the podcast with the possible exception of Corey, and he doesn't speak for anyone else on the show. The Brainstorm podcast does not represent the views of our sponsors.